Welcome guys to the first ever showcase of the first SCUR add-on pack. This time I'm playing an add-on for the mod pack that we're releasing quite soon, which is the Button Mashers mod pack called the Masher pack. And again, this resource pack will be released alongside it, which is my personal personal renditions of each texture that we have installed in the pack. So there are quite a few mods to go through today. Yes, that is a wyvern. It's very, very cool. I'll show you that in just a moment. So I'll get started with things as soon as I can, basically. So this is version 1.0. The likelihood is this thing will never upgrade to version 1.2, but I do have a planned version 1.1 coming out in the near future, which is a huge, huge overhaul for Mo Creatures, because a lot of Mo Creatures mobs have 64-bit textures. Minecraft is a 16-bit game, as I'm sure you all know. So again, that's what 1.1 will be when you guys see it. So I'll release that time at some point down the line, probably in the next month or so. But for now, for version 1.0 of the Button Mashers mod pack resources, we first of all have Biomes O Plenty mod. We have Amber Ore, Malachite Ore, Peridot Ore, Ruby Ore, Sapphire, Tanzanite, Topaz, and also Ender Amethyst as well. So all of these have been changed very slightly. First of all, these first 7, I do believe there are, have been, it's quite obvious how they've been changed. Originally, all of these have completely different textures on them. Now, as you can see there, they are just kind of like the colours, but they all share the iron / coal / redstone / diamond texture from default Minecraft, so it's a little bit more conformed. And the Ender Amethyst ore is just a completely original texture, because quite frankly the original one looked a bit crap. Moving on, we have Chisel and Bits, the iron chisel, diamond chisel, and also the diamond item saw as well, have all been changed very slightly. If you guys have been watching my vanilla vanilla resource pack series for a while, you'll know that my iron tools and diamond tools have a slightly changed gradient on their tool heads. And again, this just goes over to chisel basically. So as you can see there, they all have nice gradients on the tool heads as opposed to the usual itty gritty bitty things that you usually see. Moving on from that, we have Light Level Overlay Reloaded. This is a great mod. I actually really like this mod. And what this really does is it shows you where mobs can spawn. As you can see here, there's a torch, so mobs can't spawn in the green zone. And what I've done is I've essentially changed this mod, so that instead of showing you numbers on the floor, so for example, this one would say 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, so on and so on. I've made it so that they're all just an X, essentially, because I don't need to know the numbers, I just need to know where mobs can spawn and where mobs can't. It is as simple as that, so there you go. Light Level Overlay Reload is a little bit more simple now. Moving on from that, we have Mo Creatures. Now, I love the sound that guy makes. I'll get into that, I'll get into that in just a moment. Okay, so Mo Creatures is probably one of my favourite changes I've made so far. Not gonna lie, because Mo Creatures has some pretty crap resource textures, if that makes any sense. I'll explain shortly. So this is the big cat claw. Usually the big cat claw has a black outline, but it doesn't go all the way around. It kind of half outlines, and it just looks a bit crap. So I've made it so that it's more sleek, and it's a little bit more white as well, so it looks a bit more clean, if that makes any sense. Moving on from that, we've got Essence of Darkness, Fire, Dead, and Light, and those have all been changed so that instead of having their own little kind of thin, tall vials, they all look like they're in the Minecraft bottles, which I think makes them much cooler. So again, I think every bottle in the game, regardless of what it's from, should use this bottle texture that I've already made. So that's kind of what I've done there. I've just made it so that, again, darkness, fire, undead, light, all use the same bottle that they're stored in, but they just have different colours. Moving on from that, we have the crafted saddle. The crafted saddle looks a lot more like the default Minecraft saddle, only it's a little bit more dull and has a grey... what the hell are these called? The thing you put your foot inside when you're on a horse, you know? So that's silver to show the difference. On the actual Minecraft saddle, if I just grab it for you here, you can see that the little foot thing is black. So there you go. We also have the medallion. Hello, dude. We have the medallion, which has been completely changed. The original medallion is a very, very tacky 32-bit texture, which consists of golds, blues, greens, reds, oranges. Do you mind? So I've completely revamped it, so now it's just a nice, very, very nicely gradiented gold medal, and it's also kind of a blue and grey blue tether, if that makes any sense. Now, unfortunately, because of the way I've designed this texture, as you can see there, it looks like the tether's running off the screen. Thank you, command block, thank you. So yeah, it looks like the tether's running off the screen, but when it's held in your hand, especially, it doesn't look particularly great. But I don't really mind, because it's still a huge, massive improvement on the original texture, and I just like the colours. I really like the colour scheme of this. I've always found that blues and oranges go together really well. Not sure why, but I really like them. Here we've got the Mo Creatures egg. A lot of the hello, dude. A lot of the creatures in Mo Creatures drop eggs, and they're usually just like a white oblong. I've made it so that it looks like the creative spawn egg, but it's got a completely new texture, so there you go. This is Alan. Say hello to Alan, guys. He is a wyvern very aptly named Alan. So yeah, and basically the change here, I did say that 1.1, I'm sure you guys can already hear it, I did say the change for 1.1 would be a lot of Mo Creatures textures. Hello buddy, how are you doing? And what I've essentially done is I've changed the sounds of the wyvern, because I've been getting quite into taming wyverns in creative mode, because I do plan to have one on the server when it starts as soon as possible, because wyverns are really, really damn cool. But the only problem with wyverns is they make ridiculous sounds. They kind of sound like, I mean, it's weird. Wyverns have about 10 different sound files, 5 of which are kind of passive sounds, and the rest of which are like attacking, flying, dying, and they all just sound like completely different animals. Like some of the passive sounds are like snakes, and some of them are just like random hissing. But then when it takes damage, it sounds like a monkey, and when it died, it sounded like I don't even know. It's just a weird, like a dolphin almost. I don't know. It's weird. So basically, because the sounds of the wyvern were completely and utterly dumb, I have switched out every single sound this dude makes for exact stripped sounds from Jurassic Park 1 to 3, and I think he sounds absolutely amazing. I'm sure as you guys can hear. I'm not sure if you can hear that actually. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. There we go. So yeah, essentially what I did is I went onto some clips of Jurassic Park 1, 1 and 3 mostly, not so much Jurassic Park 2, because the raptor sounds that I like are in number 1 and number 3. If he wants to play his little noise. Bruh, can you make a sound? Ah, I love it. So yeah, every single sound he makes is directly taken from the movies, and it is so nice. I don't know why, but it suits him really, really well. He's not a dragon, he's a wyvern, so he's not going to sound as huge and epic as a dragon, but the kind of like sly lizard-like hissing and the kind of calling that sounds a little bit like birds, but a little bit like lizards. Oh, I just love it. I think it suits really well. So yeah, moving on from that, finally, the egg from Mo Creatures, so I place it down on the ground. The egg that you place in Mo Creatures usually is white. I changed the texture to orange, so I've of course changed the egg texture to orange as well, and I'm actually going to want to pick that up. Can I grab you, please? It's not letting me pick it up. Pick it up. Yeah, I know, dude. Oh, now you're making sounds, of course, yeah. Hang on a second. Projectiles of strength, 255, 255, true. Bam. No, die. Something's going to hatch there, and I'm not sure what it is. Oh. Oh, it's a manticore. Okay, never mind. Moving on from that, we have Quark. Quark has the most changes of any mod in the mod pack. Shut up, dude. You had your chance. Shut up. So yeah, now we have acacia chests and jungle chests. These have had all their colours tweaked to match the colours of wood in the game, as you can see there. Biotite in quartz is kind of like a combination of quartz and a very black and kind of grey-blue block, as you can see there. And to match up with my vanilla quartz, which is two-tone for all the textures there, you see we've got completely bright white and white with a bit of grey in the side. I've kind of translated that over to the biotite texture, so it's completely dark blue, and completely dark blue with this kind of grey cyan added into the mix as well. So there you go. Moving on with the theme of the jungle wood textures, because again my jungle wood in Minecraft is made so it's a little bit more orange and less pink. The bookshelf, the jungle bookshelf from Quark has been changed to be a little bit more orange, and also the carved jungle wood is a bit more orange as well, so there's also that. The block of charcoal looks like a block of coal, only it's a little bit more brown. The block of charcoal in quartz usually looks very, very gritty and bitty and a bit naff, so I figured if there's already a block of coal in the game, why not just make a block of charcoal which looks like the coal, but is a little bit more brown, because it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Moving on from that, we have Ender Watchers. These things are very, very cool. Basically long-range redstone which works based on your sight, as you can see here. A little example for you is if I look at that one, it's going to light up the big sign over there, which I think is pretty cool. That's what Ender Watchers do. Mine has been changed a little bit so that it's more obvious when it's being looked at. In the original Quark, when you're looking at an Ender Watcher, the texture, it does change, but it barely changes, and the only indication that you really have whether it's changed or not is if you see these particles. Now, as you can see there, if the block's too far away, the particles don't actually show up. So I think the fact that the block becomes mostly red from an original mostly green is a good indicator that it's being looked at, if you know what I mean. Glowcelium comes a lot further down the block and is a lot less stringy and more confined, as you can see there. Also, a very nice neon blue and green texture, which I think is quite cool. Iron plates have been changed around so that they work with stairs and slabs. The original iron plate texture is like a big square, and if you like one big square in the middle of the block, and if you use it to make stairs or half slabs, the side texture of half slabs and the inner textures of the stair don't look right. So I've made it this kind of modular texture where it's 4 little squares, so if you use it to make stairs or slabs, as you can see there, it works quite nicely and it always looks right, if that makes any sense. You can also make the rusty, iron plates rusty by adding a bit of water to them, as you can see there. So there you go. You've kind of got like a rusty version of the same block. So it's the same texture, but with a bit of brown and grey added over the top as well. Moving on from that, we have Quark's basalt. This basalt is nicked directly from one of the earliest versions of Minecraft ever. I don't know if you guys ever played Red Power or anything similar, but there were volcanoes in Red Power that also had basalt. So I figured I really like that texture. That's like kind of like a nostalgic texture for me. So I'm going to change the basalt textures to the Red Power 2 basalt textures. Not Red Power, the original Red Power from like, what, 5 years ago? So this texture is very old and has a lot of nostalgia in it for me, which I think is a huge cool game changer. There's also basalt bricks, which again are nicked straight from Red Power, and also polished basalt, which I actually designed myself, based around the original basalt texture, but with a kind of a frame as well. Moving on from that, we have granite bricks and granite bricks and diorite bricks. They've just been changed a little bit. Not 100% sure on these textures. I think they're a little bit too bright, if I'm honest. Because if you consider them next to stone bricks, I'll just demonstrate. This is the stone brick in comparison to them both there, as you can see. It's not actually, it's not actually that bad. That's fine. That's not getting changed. But that's no. I actually like it. Never mind. I like it. I was going to change that in a future version, but I actually quite like it, so there you go. Moving on from that, we have trapdoors, dark oak and jungle wood specifically. The jungle wood oak change is just very simple. It's, it's more orange, like all the jungle wood is in my pack, and the dark oak trapdoor no longer has a little window in it, but instead has a little tiny handle, as you can see there, just like the big dark oak door as well. Moving on from that, we have Simon, we have Jeremy, and we have Patrick. I'm just kidding, of course. This is the Ashen, the Dweller, and the Pirate. These textures have been changed quite a bit. Quark adds original textures for their mob called the Ashen, the mob called the Dweller, and their mob called the Pirate. And they all look like, well, for example, the Ashen looks like a skeleton, but it looks like kind of a, I don't know how to describe it, kind of like a mossy skeleton. And I thought it was a bit naff. So what I've done is I've taken the Wither Skeleton texture, copied it over to here, made it so it's a little bit more blue and a little bit more grey, so it doesn't look like the original Wither Skeleton, and I've also given him bright white eyes as well. I've also done the same thing for Jeremy over here, who is a Dweller, bright white eyes. Looks a little bit like Herobrine right now, I can see it. But the whole point of these two mobs is that they only spawn at very low down depths, so the fact that they would have white glowing eyes kind of makes sense to me, if you know what I mean, because they'd be living in darkness all the time. Pirates are similar to Ashens. The original pirate looked like a mossy skeleton, and it was a bit kind of odd. I don't know. Yeah, it was a mossy skeleton, and his little pirate robes here that you can see were all messed up. They were all broken and tatty and dark. But his pirate hat was absolutely fine. The pirate hat was completely intact. So that didn't really ring true to me. So what I've done is I've changed it so that he's not a mossy skeleton. He's literally just an exact replica of the regular skeleton texture. And his pirate outfit, as you can see here, has been all repaired. So it looks all nice again now. So there you go. That's the pirate. Moving on from that, we've got a couple more items from Quark. We've got the ender arrow, the explosive arrow, and the torch arrow. These have all been changed just a little bit. The ender arrow no longer has an arrow head, because the original one actually has an arrow head for some reason. The explosive arrow has been changed ever so slightly. It's just had a different colour. I hate this. It's got a different colour shaft and a different colour fletching. There you go. Make memes. Laugh at me, I don't care. I feel awkward saying it. No one's laughing at me, but I just feel awkward saying it. Yeah, it has a different coloured shaft and a different coloured fletching. I've made it so that all arrows in Minecraft now have the same coloured shaft and the same coloured fletching, just like so. I've also changed the torch texture. I'll demonstrate. Let me have a look here. So the torch texture, as you know, in my Minecraft pack, adds a little grey brazier to the torch. I've simply translated that over to the torch arrow, as you can see there. Item frames, specifically coloured item frames from Quark, are a little bit different. The sword in the middle is more vibrant and contrasts the background a lot better, so it's more easy to see. Other than that, nothing's really changed about the item frames. They're all still exactly the same. Moving on from Quark, we have the last mod for today, Tinker's Construct. This is first seared glass. This can be used to make smelteries, and usually seared glass has a huge rim on the outside, and you only get a very small window. I've decided to remove that, so there's this very small rim in the corners that you get with seared glass, as you can see there. So it's usually much easier to look out of, which I think is quite nice. The smeltery texture, the furnace glow of the smeltery has been changed to the bright yellowy orange that all the fire animations in my pack always use. For example, if you guys don't know, if I grab myself a torch, if I grab myself a lighter, and a number of other things as well. Anything in Minecraft that essentially generates fire is changed so it's a little bit more orange-yellow as opposed to the kind of reddy dark orange that Minecraft usually uses for fire. My fires all look yellow, as you can see there. And again, all I've really done for the smeltery, and also the seared furnace as well, is I've adjusted the glowy texture of those guys to match my fire texture. So it's more of like a yellow like a kind of mid-orange as opposed to dark orange, reddy fire, if that makes any sense. Moving on from that, we have the blocks of Tinker's Construct. Ardite, Cobalt, Manulin, and Pig Iron all have completely redesigned original textures, as you can see there. The Ardite texture, let's just say for these four, the original ones are a bit goofy. Most of all, the Manulin texture in default Tinker's Construct has a huge $sign on it, which I think is disgusting. No offense to the mod author, he's a great guy. This is one of my favourite mods of all time. But you guys might remember when I first saw the Observer, and it had a little Thomas Tank Engine face, and I was like, nah, no, that's going. That has to go. It's the same with the Manulin. Why would you put a $sign on the side of it? No, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Thank you, command block. Thank you. It rains so much in this world, by the way. I've actually installed a command block to switch the weather off automatically, so there you go. Yeah, Pig Iron had a pig face on it. Need I say more? It's just pink iron now. And finally, Cobalt and Ardite have had their ore textures change ever so slightly, so they're a little bit more subtle as well. So last things for you today are the items. First of all, we have EFLN, which is a little ball which explodes. Of course, I would change it to dynamite because that's essentially what it is. Yeah, in default Tinker's Construct, it looks like a little red and yellow ball, and you throw it, and it explodes. Come on, I've got to make that dynamite. The description of dynamite is literally like TNT, but you lob it. I love it. This stuff is so fun to use, by the way. I'm just going to chuck a few over there, and we'll see in the distance that's going to destroy the landscape. And the bears, apparently. Yeah, dynamite's really fun, and it only costs literally 1 gunpowder and 1 flint, so that is going to be abused so much in the server life. And again, same thing as with the pig iron block. The pig iron ingot used to have a little pig face on the end. It's been removed. Simple as that. I don't get why people do things like that, you know? I get that it's pig iron and it's got pig blood in it. Is the way that pig iron's literally made. It has to have blood in it. But why would it have a pig face on the side? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know, maybe I'm just boring. Who knows? Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. That was version 1.0 of the Button Mashers mod pack resources. A little bit of a long name there, unfortunately, but yeah. That's exactly what it does. I'm just going to take a ride on Alan for a second here. There we go. Alan has a new sound texture, by the way, for his wing sound, as you may be able to hear. Whenever he flaps his wings, it makes a very deep sound, because he's got big wings, as you can see here. Alan's very cool. I like Alan. There you go. So anyway, where was I? Thank you for watching, guys. That was version 1.0 of Button Mashers mod resources. If you do want to download the pack, the link is in the description as always. You can download it from my website, which is now up and live all the time. And again, if you did like the pack, please do comment, like the video, because it really helps me out, guys. It's really, yeah, I don't give a shit if you like the video.